Extremely small, very loud. Hi, my name is Jason, and with my groupmate Darcy, we'll be presenting our proposal for the RMIT Brunswick campus through engagement with collective memory, loose frameworks, and critical regionalism. We are both Level 6 design students.
Rocked by the pandemic, the core of Brunswick, small, independent hubs of creativity and culture, are being threatened by increasing desires to gentrify and densify, generalising the suburb.
At the same time, learnings from the online era of university have called for a shift away from centralized campuses focused around lecture and classroom spaces into a desegregated field which finds its value in hosting tactile experiences and provide a link between education and industry.
We see an opportunity at these critical cultural and educational junctions to accomplish two ends at once through framing RMIT Brunswick as the medium for Brunswick's urban regeneration.
A series of small interventions to sites of historic or cultural importance activate them as community assets, extending their lifecycle through reconsidered usage and design frameworks for growth.
Establishing a kit of parts through early experimentation, our interventions seek to uncover, capture, and exaggerate the character of Brunswick, returning it as the cultural hub of Melbourne.
Responding to the urban separation within Brunswick between its cultural production alongside main roads and its industrial past, hidden within the key urban fabric, we offset the key axes of the campus to act as an intermediator between these two forces and capitalizing in the urban mess.
Sites along these axes were seen as seeds, out of which future growth could network, expanding RMIT Brunswick as an urban field. An enigmatic structure, an abandoned restaurant, 173 Sydney Road, sits as a relic of an aesthetic condition of yesteryear. Sandwiched between two newer buildings, it stands as a testament to the layered history of Brunswick. In this, there was the potential to uncover the past histories of site, while also opening the adjacent laneway as a key route back to the RMIT campus. We uncovered the technique of urban renewal through critical regionalism, association to the collective memory of Brunswick formed through careful referencing of the Padua Theatre, Brunswick's lost cultural icon. The streamlined modern styling is used as an instrument to invite activation of the laneway, enabling access and forming a new hyper-Brunswick vernacular. The dynamic structure creates a framework upon which exhibitions could be held or items displayed as a shopfront. These pipes are let to wriggle into the realms of its neighbours and street. This uncovers the site as a place of contradiction, but in the process intersecting it with the temporal and flexible, this a unifying theme between the sites.
Within the Victorian-style building sits a right-of-way from Sydney Road through to 302 Albert Street. Currently inactivated, disintegrating walls show hints of public graffiti and intrigue, signaling a potential that this right-of-way could house a Brunswick culture through participation. The intervene is aimed to be small yet effective, by borrowing and stealing scaffolding and industrial materials from the local area. The right-of-way becomes a canvas for local artists and creators to display their works. In later stages, a disused shopfront could house an RMIT-endorsed shop, displaying students' and artists' creations through a series of windows in the laneway. Instead of trying to force upon an image of Brunswick, we decided to hand it over to the community themselves to bring life into this blank canvas, over time developing a character of its own and slowly inserting itself within the collective memory of Brunswick.
The deserted accountancy firm is positioned as a void within the urban fabric of Brunswick, both in its colour and architectural language, splitting the long line of Victorian shopfronts with its squat brick form offering no dialogue to the bustling Sydney Road. Celebrating production as the furthest east site along the northern campus axis, the opportunity was to blow through the brick wall to open up the space as a stoop or intermediator to this campus and industry behind. This space is a fluid, flexible, multi-programmable space hosting events, exhibitions, or just acting as an informal work area. As a passage to the industrial core of Brunswick behind, the ghosts of industries past were infused into the space through growth into three adjacent stoops, referencing the critical industries to Brunswick's development: brick, textiles, and rope production. These stoops are given presence along Sydney Road through parklets conquering the street and acting as placemakers. This intervention alters the dead site into one of great social vitality, celebrating the industrial past of Brunswick by bringing it into the previously forbidden domain along Sydney Road.
a worn-down vehicle repair workshop gutted by the COVID-19 recession. 282 Albert Street is the northern entrance to a network of laneways leading to siteworks. Rust clinging to its steel, it is a rare glimpse of industry visible from Sydney Road, enveloped and threatened by soulless developments. Stripped down to its beam and truss structural core, a flexible, reconfigurable space is formed. This allows it to adapt to the contrasting processes of manufacturing differing textiles. In future stages, 282 Albert Street has the potential to expand upwards by borrowing and stealing unused local infrastructure. It becomes more than just a building. 282 Albert Street provides opportunities for Brunswick culture to seep in and thrive, a defiant beacon against the forces of developers.
At the west end of the northern axis, it references back to and past Sydney Road, hosting Brunswick's built residential vernacular, stealing elements from the Papafocus family home from John Ruane's death in Brunswick, they themselves originally stolen. This scaffold provides a framework for future developments, claiming the site while touching the earth lightly. At the west end of the northern axis, it references back to and past Sydney Road, hosting Brunswick's built residential vernacular, stealing elements from the Papafocus family home from John Ruane's death in Brunswick, they themselves originally stolen. This scaffold provides a framework for future developments, claiming the site while touching the earth lightly. The iconic door becomes the point of leakage from the building, a playful runway, an invitation and an event activator. Small temporal pavilions are let emerge from the scaffold, which when combined with tactical cuts into the building begin to blur the interior and exterior condition. This move reappropriates the dead car park as an educational hub. An important Indigenous cultural landmark, we saw Black Dot Gallery's small independent defiance as a model for our wider approach. Respectful of the facade, the roof was extended by a structure that never touches the building, hosting seating and framing to heighten the existing windows. This frame becomes the key to unlocking the neighbouring garage and pedestrianising the street through an extension into a stage. At the back of site, there exists a tension between Black Dot, the car park, and the ancillary service hut next to the Brunswick Baths. As a conversational gesture, the laneway trusses are continued to form a balcony acting as a stoop. The car park is activated by this tension into an informal social condenser and yarning circle. Eventually bridging this divide, the languages of each blur into one another, the canopies activating space to host the currently annual Black Dot Artists Market as a more permanent fixture. Considerate of the conversational axes between buildings, the material condition frames two views, one of heaviness towards the service hut and one of lightness towards siteworks.
And finally, 33 Saxon Street, the heart of the site. The facade alongside Phoenix Street is currently closed off. To reactivate this opportunistic infrastructure, an entrance under the cantilever was opened up, fencing removed. An opportunity to showcase works through the window while walking through to the entrance arises. Due to the site having been heavily involved in the brick and pottery business, the facade was reclad with a chromatic brick that nods to pottery making, supplied by local manufacturers. The current extension of the Italianate Sherwood Mansion has little sympathy to its original, as noted in local heritage reports. Hence, its paint was stripped, making the old feel older. The existing windows were also replaced to arches, a contemporary homage to the original mansion. Here, the juxtapositions of old and new, present throughout our projects, are hosted by a singular facade. There is an opportunity to create a new structure on the site adjacent. Its site mediates an argument between an indigenous gallery and a colonial mansion, pillaging the temporary structure at 260 Sydney Road. The form refrains from imposing a new language into the conversation, instead offering a place of loose translation and reconciliation.
This collection of small moves revel in the collective memory and cultural histories of Brunswick, building from them invitations to activate and grow existing conditions through a flexible field.